now, on a trippin' Tuesday, baby, stuck in a Lodi again with John Fogerty and, ooh, babies, that Creedence Clearwater Revival, or as we call them, CCR back in the day. Babies, I tell you what, they took hold of the anti-war movement back in those days and led the way, man. So they understood what it was like to be stuck in Lodi again. Back then, Lodi was kind of a tiny place, not the thriving metropolis it's become since then. But it was kind of gloomy-doomy, just like the lonesome loser landed on you once more, man. And there you were, stuck in a boring old place like that. Next thing you know, you're in trouble with the law, sitting in the county jail, saying, how the hell did I get here? It happens, baby. Well, guess what, you know? I posted this thing on Facebook here just a little while ago, you know, Fascia book, I call it, yeah, or whatever it is, over there on my personal page, a little meme about let's empty America's jails and prisons of pot smokers, and it'd be plenty of room to start jailing real criminals like bankers and politicians and the people that control them, you know. I mean, there's plenty of room there if you get rid of all the non-violent prisoners that are held on insane drug charges. Thanks a lot, Tricky Dicky. Man, I tell you, your soul must know torment. Anyhow, one of my friends down there underneath in the comment section comes around and says, well, hey, well, let me just kind of quote it here. I'll pull it up here real quick. Yeah, what? Take away the income from the number of prisoners to put money people in? You do know prisons are a new income source business. Well, babies, I kind of knew that. I'm qualified. I found out about private prisons one day when I was doing, of all things, hauling the U.S. mail along a little country highway there in the backwoods of Tennessee or Georgia or Oklahoma or someplace like that. And along come this great big old huge wide load going the other way. I had no idea what it was. But that damn thing was huge, and it just showed up out of nowhere. You know, I had about 30 seconds to react and give them the highway. And, you know, oof, I almost rolled it, kids, the U.S. mail. But almost is the key word there, because I didn't roll it. But now I knew about private prisons, because that's what ran me off the road, was a private prison being delivered to some small town out there where a bunch of sick and diverted people were getting jobs as prison guards and stuff. That's what somebody told me afterwards, you know. Couldn't believe it. That thing was probably 20 feet wide. Going down the road left you 3 feet. And babies, it was like a slope, a slant on the other side. Ooh, it was close, man. But I got good angels, let me tell you. Some fair driving skills back in those days. These days, I'm kind of a hazard on the highway, so just watch out for me, man. I drive slow, I drive fast. I might, you know, stop in the middle of the road and talk to a crow for a while. You just never know. No, I ain't that bad, babies, but I would. You know, but I usually try to get out of the way. Crestonia used to be a small town that you could, you know, stop and BS in the middle of the street. You see somebody, you know, you need to talk to them. Well, you just stop in the street and talk. Ooh, and there came a time when that wasn't acceptable anymore. People started blaring on their horns and stuff, and all of a sudden there's traffic up the gazoozy here, and there's no room for stopping and jawing down with your friend unless you pull off the road somewhere, you know. But wow, weird stuff, huh? Well, that's population, man, you know. I'm thinking, you know, since we got all this population and they ain't got nothing to do but pick on each other, and we're trying to form community out here in the kingdom of Crestonia, Colorado, which is the larger area of this county called Saguache, I should say. Gotta do it right now. It's spelled real weird, but anyway, out here in this kingdom of Crestonia, we got these community ideas going on, community feeling, but like I said, we got all this new population with nothing to do but drive around and honk their horns at each other and stuff, and then this lady on the Facebook there talking about what, you know, you want to put money people in and take, you know, paying prisoners out. No way, man. Well, I'm thinking, man. You know, let's take this to the next level here in the 3D, lady. Okay? That's a good friend of mine. I'll just say Nellie, okay? Nellie. She's one of my good friends there on the Facebook, man. But anywho, yeah, I was thinking, wow. Well, here we got this kingdom of Crestonia that really needs something to do, you know. And there, and she's talking about, you know, prisons being profitable. You get something like $42,000 a year out of each prisoner you hold in your private prison. So I'm thinking, well, shucks. Here's a way to do something good for the earth, you know, while still looking like you're a dark artist or something, you know, because you want to own a prison, you know. She and I should go into business together, buy up a big old tract of land out here just outside, you know, still in Crestonia, but outside town there somewhere. You got to be discreet with this stuff, you know. Can't have prisoners too near to children and things like that, you know. But what we'll do, we'll build the world's first love commune inside of a private prison. They won't know that because they're too dumb to see it, man, you know. And to them, it'll just like we want to put a bunch of sick spiritualists together to boss around a bunch of sad prisoners and get some money for it, right? But shoot, that's just where it began. And we ain't doing that, of course, at all. We'll be real select about our prisoners. We'll only take, you know, nonviolent offenders and so forth, those that we know that have been railroaded by the law, and we'll introduce them to a whole new way of being, because this will be a commune / a cooperative inside of those prison walls, a love fest in motion. You know, there won't be any of this indiscretion that, you know, raping of our prisoners and stuff like, no, because we'll be like, you know, totally together in this thing, you know. You know, they use these prisoners too. On top of that, then they farm them out to slave labor. They make them go work in chicken plants and stuff, you know, and real low life crap. I mean, in the other prison, in our prison, well, shoot, that's the cooperative side of it. We'd start several little industries inside of the prison, and not using slave labor. It's a cooperative, so everybody participates in the profits, you see. So we can start with a little marijuana business, you know, grow the best, most wicked Rocky Mountain high weed they could ever even be, man, you know, because people would be putting their heart into it. Because they're getting something out of it. They're getting rehabilitation too, but there's nothing wrong with them. They just don't like the system. Who does? Some people just can't help but act up about it. So we're just going to redirect our energies a wee bit, you know. Might even start a cookie factory there. Put out the best darn cookie you ever ate or something like that, you know. One little bite and just like my donuts, you get nirvana, man, you know. Something like that, man, you know. Of course, it'd be, you know, be a what do you call it, communal, what do you call it? Well, anyway, both sexes would be prisoners there. In fact, we might have voluntary prisoners that move in to help the other prisoners move along with their lives, because it'll be such a profitable place to be in. Everybody will leave there at least a millionaire, you know, and able to start their own little commune somewhere, you know. Find a whole new way of being, man, you know. Of course, we'll make it look mean and foreboding with, you know, razor wire fences and guard towers and all the nastiness. But our people here in Crestonia, generally speaking, are kind of gentle-hearted folk, man, with a view on the higher side of life. They're spirit folk, man, you know, and they well, some of them might get a little carried away and try to preach to the prisoners. We'll put them away too, you know, preach to the wall for a little while. But most of them would be the most excellent employees of our little private commune, that we call a prison, man. We could pull one over on the establishment by looking like the establishment, you know. It'd be perfect, man. And then we have all this money to develop outside projects in the community and bring the town together and get them out of this old mindset of we got to have a grant from the federal government to do anything here, you know, and get them back in the idea, well, our heart is together in our interest in living in this place. Now let's see what the land wants us to do with it, if anything at all. You know, how best to come together, not just as a community amongst people, That's only one element in the environment, right? So it's like, the whole of the community will produce the interest of the heart. Formidably, too, by magnificent magic means, creative powers. When we finally allow ourselves to see how truly creative we are. You see, and that's what I know I'm being satiric about the private prison and all that, but that's what little projects like what I'm talking about lead to, an elegant place where everyone just loves one another, and the power of creative love comes forward because of that. You see, and all are provided for automatically. It just happens. Creation is moved by your heart. Same way creation moves your heart. It's a together thing. Just like the motherhood is, with her male presence inside. It's a together thing. It's a full and complete life that we could live as a community of human beings. Imagine what stunning things we could create here or anywhere else across this earth. How good do we want to have it? How good does our mother want us to have it? Can you imagine? Now you see why it's really, really important that we let go of the authoritarian side of life and stop building prisons and housing people in jails and stuff like that and thinking in terms of punishment, when in reality we're only further empowering their criminal inclinations. And those prisons become universities of greater crime and how to get away with it and stuff, see? Those poor guys are just mostly in there, the losers, that couldn't afford the attorneys and didn't have the rich grandpa or whatever, you know what I mean? If you've been around courtrooms much and watched what goes on there, the poor are always railroaded, especially if they're not of the same ilk as the general population. Then they get double, triple, quadruple railroaded. Good victims. Everybody makes money, and these people get a place to eat and shit, and live. Right. Ugh. If you call that living, it's hell on earth, man, and we should never provide for people in this way. 'Cause, making people live in hell only makes them worse, not better, makes them angrier. Especially those that are locked up innocently. That the cops in this country tend to railroad a lot. It wasn't uncommon when I was a kid. If you were on their list and they wanted to get you, they'd find a way to do it. They'd invent charges on you. They would. And just bust you for the hell of it, because they knew they could get away with it. But nowadays, that kind of stuff, which was usually just held for the bad guys that couldn't get along in society and the cops just didn't like, well, these days it's now, that one, you just shoot him, man, what the hell, Oh, it's sad, huh? But see, babies, that's that old authoritarian way of thinking. Action, reaction, push-pull. And, we're being divided against each other by perceiving each other as representative of a different energy, when in fact we're all joining the same energy of love. And there's no need to draw down on anyone or take anyone's life at all. And in fact, that ability is going away fast. You watch what happens in this reality. As harps keep turning in this direction, there may only be a few, but I see plenty now, don't you? Each person's coming at it in their own way, and God, we come from sad and sorry backgrounds, I'd say. But everyone's getting it this way. Or a lot of folks are, man, and because of that, everyone is, you see. It's just a matter of progressive through the reality. One light goes on here, one light goes on there, and lights go on all around them. You see, and pretty soon we don't have a jailhouse left, or a prison camp or anything like that. We don't have police. We don't even have the criminal government anymore, because we don't need it. We're that well regulated in our heart and soul, in our love of creation, and our desire to create to the utmost capability of our heart. You see, it's a whole different living. Then you get here in the 3D. Here in the 3D, you get to put a little bit of your heart into this or that or the other. And you're fortunate if you get to do that. Most people, or a lot of people, let's not say not most, let's say a lot, are drawn into careers that they hate. But they're stuck with it, but they're good at it or whatever, you know what I mean? Isn't that so? They don't get to put their heart in much in life. And then their home life reflects that and everything else. And that's how we all got drowned down into Dullsville, where we could be pushed around and controlled by frickin' machines, let alone serums in our body and shit like that. It's craziness, man. Total insanity and total opposite of what a human being ought to be living, see? When you live in your heart, when you set yourself free, you liberate the rest of the reality. And nobody's a criminal anymore, not at the top or the bottom of the pile. Nobody's in prison. Everybody's set free because everybody is trustworthy. And why would you steal anything when you've got everything? Why would you take from your neighbor when the neighbor just gave you everything you ever wanted? You know, whatever, see, we're in it together. At a heart level, which is the very essence of creation, the place where we live for real. That's the player outside the game, what we saw as a distant thing called the higher self, which we now realize in this imperfect self is the perfection of that higher self completely joined too. There is no division. Therefore, one reflects the other through a more perfect lens now. You see, and it's no longer upside down, backwards reality that we live in, but a flow that is the glow of love ever expanding through all the dimensions and parallels of life and living, and the deepest understanding and appreciation of that life there could ever be. Can you imagine that? If you can, we create it right there in your imagination, in your imaginative heart, given of the mother of love with the Father within her. The direct love is the mother love, same as the nourishing, nurturing love is. It's all the same energy. See? We're not so different. We're not even divided genderically, though each of us represents one side of it. But see, it's not even sides anymore. It's the same side, expressed differently in each and every human being that lives. What a colorful and beautiful example of life. A tapestry beyond compare. It just glows with the happiness of life. These lives, this experiential reality we've woven ourselves through. Wow! Now we know what to do. If you can dream it, you can live it. If you can dream it, you can be it. If you are dreaming it, there it is. That's the empowerment of the heart. That's seeing it what we call innocently, very purely, as the essence of life that we are, and that we were created to be. That's why we've allowed so much experience for ourselves already. We had to get ready to be on the pinnacle of life, the very top side of it, the ever-expounding outer rings of living, which of course means we're at the center of it too. Children of the universe expand through and through and become all of it. See? Okay, enough of that little old show. We got some rock and roll to go here. We got some love to expand in. Grandly so, babies. Allow it to be. Don't keep yourself that humble. You know what I mean? Let yourself dream this into being. It's a dream that we all carry. Every one of us. And it doesn't take much to empower it. Just a little shift in the wind. A little gathering together of the energy of our heart. Our one pure heart in all that lives. That's going with the flow here on Hazy Radio Network with Grandpa, Coyote, Okiwan, Kenobi, Sweet Mary Jane, and our spaceship crew too, and all the living likes of you, you angelic and wonderful human beings that you are. Let's set ourselves free. Let's be. Okay?